right now on SAU Weekly. Election Day Frenzy.
It is very important to cast your vote.
Voters flood the Rogalski Center, eager to cast their ballots.
Students here are engaged, they're voting.
And to tune in on election night. We bring you the latest election results.
The election central coverage.
Plus, captivating coverage.
Just talk to everybody we can.
Campus radio station KALA returns for their B election central coverage. And in sports, highlights from a big conference win for women's soccer. And home openers for wrestling and men's basketball. Your latest news and sports from St. Ambrose University starts right now. Welcome to this edition of SAU Weekly, your source for the latest news and sports from St. Ambrose University. I'm Ross Willard.
And I'm Katie Walsh.
After months of campaign rallies and debates, the 2024 presidential campaign has reached the finish line. This week, Republican candidate Donald Trump won the presidential election by securing 295 Electoral College votes to 226 for Kamala Harris. Trump will once again step into the White House in January as the 47th President of the United States. Here at home, the Iowa House is in the middle of one of the closest races you'll find anywhere. The race in District 1 between Republican Marionette Miller Meeks and Christina Bohannon is still too close to call. The candidates are separated by a mere fraction of a percent. If no winner is declared, the vote would go to a recount.
Davenport residents were able to cast their votes in the 2024 election, and SAU students were also invited to vote so they wouldn't have to travel back home to do so. Thanks to the many volunteers on hand, the process of casting a vote went smoothly. Throughout the day, hundreds of eager voters were able to send in their ballots.
But it is very important to cast your vote. It's your right. And as a citizen of the United States, it's important to be able to cast those votes without any interference. It makes me very proud of being part of the process. And not just sitting back and watching everybody else go through the motions, but being able to say, thank you for coming and voting. We appreciate that. And they also thank me for being here.
After heading to the polls, students on campus were invited to watch the election up in the Rogalski Center ballroom. The partnership between SAU's college Democrats and Republicans allowed all students to watch the live election coverage in real time. Organizers say they wanted all who attended to engage in thoughtful conversations about the election process.
Our goal, obviously college Republicans with college Democrats, is to just have an open forum for students to have an opportunity in place to come listen to the candidates who are obviously going to run our country in the next 4 years, and just give students a space to talk and have a civic discussion between the two parties.
I think we have a great campus when it comes to politics. It seems like students here are engaged, that they're voting, but it's all done so in the utmost of a respectful manner. I haven't seen much turmoil, tensions.
On November 5th, SAU's KALA radio was live on the air to provide election coverage, taking a nationwide event and bringing it to a local level. SAU Weekly's Chloe Melton was there to give us the inside look at their coverage.
On our B election central coverage about the power and
KALA radio is committed to serving the local community year-round, but no night is quite like an election night.
From our students, the story told by our students, and also our longtime volunteers that we work with.
While the nation is focused on the election, it is important for the students to take a small part in the process.
Well, KALA serves the Quad Cities, and we've been on the air for more than 5 decades, and we need to tell the people about the election process, at least from the perspective of St. Ambrose University.
I think it has very much altered what people were probably thinking they were going to vote on 4 years down the road.
Like our country, our campus is a diverse community with a range of opinions.
As students, I think we learned that there's a lot of differences on our campus. We go out and record and ask questions and interview and just talk to everybody we can, or at least everybody that's willing to answer questions on their political preferences, and not everybody's the same. So it's just being a student here is, I guess it's a little eye-opening.
Very seldom do you ever see politicians promising policy.
As coverage carried late into the night, community volunteers were impressed with what they saw in the next generation.
It's great to see the students who are involved and they're talking about it. I've been on camp, I live nearby, and so I see and come over and hear the students talking, and it's really exciting, and I love the engagement. I think they're doing a great job.
Students providing local coverage for an election that captivated the nation. With SAU Weekly, I'm Chloe Melton.
Thanks, Chloe. To hear more from KALA Radio, visit kalafm.org.
Coming up next on SAU Weekly, we're headed to the volleyball court.
Harry Johnston brings you what campus is buzzing about. We'll be right back.
Visit Ragged Records, one of the largest record stores in the Midwest. Browse more than 30,000 new and used records, from timeless classics to new releases, and rare finds in every aisle. New to collecting vinyl? Check out our large selection of stereo equipment to spruce up your listening experience. Find your groove at Ragged Records, located along Motor Row in Davenport and in Rock Island next to Roz Talks.
Whether you're a competitive runner, looking to stay fit, or just looking for comfort and support, Running Wild has you covered. Locally owned for more than 3 decades, Running Wild is the Quad City's trusted source for athletic wear and accessories. No matter your experience level, we'll help you find the right fit with all the top brands for running and walking and the latest in running apparel. Open 7 days a week, just up Brady Street. Don't walk, run to Running Wild, your run specialty store.
Every year, the Sports Management Capstone class is responsible for organizing a sporting event here on campus.
This year, the program heads to the volleyball court. Harry Johnston is here to tell us more in this week's What's the Buzz?
Thanks, guys. I'm joined now by sports management major Luke Vera to talk about the big volleyball tournament coming up right here at SAU. Thanks for being here, Luke.
Yeah, of course, my pleasure. Always fun to be on the SAU TV set.
Awesome. We love to hear that. So the capstone event changes every year. How do you guys plan to make this year more unique and more memorable than previous events?
Yeah, so last year it was a networking event. I know we had a whole ton of local Quad City businesses and sports businesses. The Quad City Storm, for example, their team president was there. But for us this year, we did want to make it unique. We wanted to make it different. So we went with big volleyball. That's never been done before. I know that was a suggestion from our professor who leads the class. So we wanted to do something different, like you said. But it was getting all the students involved and getting them involved in something that they would find interesting, that they would find fun, but also for a good cause too. Partnering with Gilda's Club and making it not about us, but about the whole Quad City community.
Right, and to then talk a little bit more about that Gilda's Club. Could you explain to us a little bit more about your partnership with them? How can it help both the sports management program and maybe your fellow peers, but also go to that good cause that you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, so Gilda's Club, they have a club on campus. So we kind of worked in partnership with them. We got in contact with the guys at the hospital too, their HQ, if you will, in the Quad Cities. They have a great mission. They're kind of in the cancer care business. They don't really do the research, but they provide help and resources for individuals and families affected by cancer. We took a tour there. They do a great job. It seems like they're small, but they're really not. They have a whole ton of options and availability. They have meals. They have wigs for chemo patients. They have yoga. They have cooking. They have a whole ton of classes. So we really loved what they did, and we knew that we wanted to get in partnership with them. So with the profits and proceeds, some of it's going to go to the sports management program so we can continue to do our thing, but some of it also is going to go to the Gildas Club so they can continue their mission in the Quad Cities.
Well, we like to hear that. It's almost a two birds, one stone kind of
Exactly.
objective there. So since this is more of a unique event than you guys have put on in your sports management program like before, tell us a little bit about like the planning process, what kind of went into that, how'd you guys maybe overcome some hurdles along the way and everything like that?
Yeah, the planning process, it's still ongoing. It's Sunday, November 17th at noon is when we kick off the event. So we still got some time, but the planning process started, early September.
Okay.
So we've been going essentially this whole semester. We've been emailing, reaching out to businesses in the Quad Cities. We created a flyer, posted that around campus. I'm sure that you've seen it. I live in McCarthy. It's posted in the elevator, getting in the doors. I think it's around the WRC too. So it's just a process of reaching out to as many people as possible, getting as many donations as possible, not just money either too. I reached out to Raising Cane's, just trying to get a gift basket of some gift cards, some coupons, stuff that way. So like I mentioned earlier, it's the whole Quad Cities. It's focused on St. Ambrose and it's part of our sports management program, but we really do want to get all the businesses involved. We want to get, students involved. We want to get a whole ton of people because it's an event and it's more than just SAU because SAU is part of the larger Quad Cities. So we really wanted to lean into that.
Well, that's awesome to hear that you guys are so deeply rooted and kind of like grassroots and want to make sure that even when you guys succeed, everybody around you succeeds. Which brings us to our last and final question, Luke. If people want to get involved here on campus, like what should they do? Where do they go? Like how do they just get involved?
Yeah, so a couple things that you could do to get involved. We have an Instagram page, Buzz Into Sports. We're posting on that. We have a TikTok, Facebook, and an X account as well. We have flyers, like I mentioned, on campus. If you scan the QR code, it'll take you to our link tree with all of our social media and the sign-up sheet for the actual day of the event, Sunday, November 17th at noon. But yeah, we have a whole ton of options for you. It's a 4 to 8 person team and it's a $30 sign-up. But when you split it up among the team, it's not that much. Should be around $5 to $6. We're going to have games, a raffle. We're going to televise some sports. That should be a whole thing, a whole blast. We have Sodexo, catering, and it'll really just be a fun time. So yeah, get involved. Go sign up on that QR code, and we'd love to see you on November 17th.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us here today, Luke, and we all hope that you guys have a great event and have much success.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Harry. Coming up next in sports, a big conference win for women's soccer.
And home openers for men's basketball and wrestling.
Join SAU Weekly's Emmett O'Brien as he takes you inside SAU athletics. Stay tuned.
Capture a piece of the past with Trash Can Annie, where vintage meets vibrant in every stitch. Browse our carefully curated collection of clothing and accessories ranging from the late 1800s to current styles. Dress to impress with Laura's unique style and wardrobe consultations. Find a style and make it yours with Trash Can Annie, your destination for timeless fashion.
Tune in to KALA and hear something different. Programming that celebrates the diversity of our listeners. We're advocates for the arts, showcasing your favorite music from around the world. We're storytellers, producing award-winning news and educational podcasts. We're dedicated sports fans, bringing you the latest Fighting Bee action from St. Ambrose University. We're a learning lab, mentoring the next generation of broadcasters and content creators. A part of your community for 5 decades. We're KALA Radio, 88.5 FM and 106.1 FM. Turn it on and turn it up.
The women's soccer team ended the regular season playing their best soccer of the year. The CCAC regular season champs have won 8 straight games and looking to add their winning streak in the conference tournament. The Fighting Bees hosting Vertebo in the conference quarterfinals, Ambrose didn't waste any time getting on the board. Just 15 seconds into the game, Kendall Wendt shoots and scores to make it 1-0, a goal that would prove to be huge. Later in the first half, Ambrose on the attack again. Shot from Mia Hefner would sail just right of the goal. Early in the second half, this header from Kendall Wendt would just miss the net. The Bees would go on to win 1-0. They will host the conference semifinal match against Holy Cross on Saturday at St. Vincent Athletic Complex at 3 p.m. The men's basketball team is off to a great start, winning their first 2 games on the road before returning home to Lee Loman this week. Fighting Bees hosting Clark with head coach Ray Shovlin back on the sideline after missing a good portion of last season. In the first 3 minutes of the game, Grant Mason finds Kieran Farrell, who hits a 3-pointer. A couple minutes later, Will Spriggs shakes off a defender connecting on the jump shot. 2 of his 30 points of the game. Bees up 6. Later in the first, Bees building up their lead. Anselm Agot finds Colin Wainscott for the 3. Bees up 9. In the second half, Grant Mason with a great pass down low to Agot for the easy layup. The Bees would take this one 87-78 to make it 3-0 on the season. They will battle Mount Mercy on Monday at 7 p.m. The women's basketball team was on the road this week in Cedar Rapids, taking on Mount Mercy. It was the Bees falling short 71-52. Abby Walter led the way, 13 points and 7 rebounds. Bees will now host number 23 Briarcliff on Saturday at Lee Loman. The SAU wrestling team made their mark on the mats in their home opener against Cornell on Tuesday night. The Bees fell behind after dropping the first 2 matches, but despite the slow start, they quickly rebounded to win 6 of the next 7 matches. Joshua Zeman and the comeback of the duel, with his early struggles defensively during the first period, Zeman was able to capture a pin 6 minutes into the match. Diego Machado wrestled his match aggressively, quickly securing a takedown using one leg and a throw soon after. In just over a minute in the first period, he executed a half Nelson straight into a pin, pushing the Bees ahead 16-10. At 184 pounds, Colin O'Grady secured a 3-point takedown and scored 10 points before achieving a first-period pin in just over 10 minutes. The Bees doubled Cornell 28-14 for the final win. The wrestling team is now 2-0 and will face Missouri Baptist tomorrow at 9 a.m. And that will do it for Inside SAU Athletics. I'm Emmett O'Brien.
And that's all we have for you on this edition of SAU Weekly. We'll be back next week with the latest news and sports from St. Ambrose University.
Remember to check out the SAU TV, Facebook, and Instagram pages for our newscasts, top stories, and more. You can also find them on The Hive at sauthebuzz.com. Thanks for watching.